Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is LolaAjisafe. We are going to be discussing and talking about Love and Marriage Huntsville. This is episode 3, season 3. Episode is called Here Comes Tiffany. Let's go with it. But before we start, housekeeping. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. All right, going into it. So what happens first? We are opening scene. We have Melody and Tisha. Looks like they're working in the relationship, trying to rebuild. Great, hoorah! Yeah. So what am I thinking here? I feel like Tisha like she's always had Kimmy to lean on. All these episodes past, but now she found herself beefing with Kimmy and not trying to resolve it because she feels like she's gonna stand in her stand. Okay, all right, do you? Let's see how this works out for you. So now she's making an effort to make up with, Melody. So, she comes in, that's when she gets a good opportunity to push, their new product, something about chocolate in a bottle. I don't know what, something, I think she says champagne, I don't know, something they're working on in addition to black, since they've got like a bar now. I think they're going into beverages. So, Melody's being pleasant with her. She, bushes her will, tries to break down relationship, gives her little tips, make sure you do this and do. Okay, that's all nice little girl talk. I think both of them are just kind of being very careful. They just want to keep it nice and polite. So they knew they were going to film together. Because maybe, Melody has more people to film with. Tisha don't. So Tisha need this scene. Quick scene, Martel's sitting with his mom. And he acting like a snitch. Like, dude, we know you a snitch. We know you like Tekashi 6ix9ine. Y'all went to the same school. You're the same school of thought. But you running back to your mom like, and the truth is, anytime you run back to tell a tale, you never tell a tale, right? He's talking about how, Melody's mom came for him. No, she didn't. I thought she was quite gracious, to be quite honest with you. And then when she saw you were doing your little, Martel thing, she was like, bruh, no, we're not going to do this. What we're not going to do is do this, particularly if your kids are here. So she shut it down. But there's this immaturity and childishness. If he really, but I guess he hasn't hit rock bottom. Sometimes, in order to see yourself, you sometimes have to hit rock bottom. I don't know if he's hit rock bottom because he definitely needs to be in a position to see himself. Because he did start therapy, but the minute he didn't agree with the therapist, you're not meant to agree, you're meant to work on yourself, meant to heal. It's not meant to be a painless process. There's meant to be some pain for expansion, for growth. I don't know if you can get much expansion and growth without pain, but he didn't want that. So now he's not seeing anyone. He left a really good therapist. Mr. Francis was a really good therapist, or Dr. Francis. Anyway, so I digress. So he did that little thing with him. So next thing we have, they're showing us the black is progressing. Marcel, I said this before, he might be the black sheep, but he's a likable little demon. Like, that little demon that you like? There's just something endearing about this little demon. And I think more so because he's smart. Now, Jalen calls him slick. You could say that too. He's slick, but he's smooth. He's slick, but with some smoothness. So the slick doesn't really carry it. Like, he's smooth with it, a little. So yeah. So anyway, he does this little thing with his, his team. Let's get ready. I'm here for you. But yeah. This is good. Like, I think he can be a good businessman. I see him building. Let's see how it goes. But he is definitely intelligent enough to really do what he wants to do and what he needs to do. This scene just shows us how black is running, still showing him Jalen in his growing pains. So far so good. Things are still up and running. They do have a clientele. They've got this, they've got things they're going. So we go into a big scene with Martel and Melody's mom, Miss Vanessa. Miss Vanessa is commendable. I mean, with our elders, they do, well, you don't have to, an elder isn't necessarily mature, but she is an elder who appears to have some maturity. Because yes, he hurt her daughter, yes, he cheated on her daughter, yes, he disgraced her daughter, yes, he embarrassed them, yes, he now was the result of the cause of the breaking down of the family. But one of the first things she said is like, I'm not here to judge you, I'm not here to do this, I'm already forgiving you, but I just want us to clean this up, it's not looking good. Miss Vanessa, one on you. I mean, she was, and that's the thing, you can catch Martel in certain moments, because when she was breaking it down to Martel, certain things, when she was like, when I handed her to you, promise me you were gonna love and take care of her. And, I think he stopped attacking her when he heard her say something about, it wasn't meant to be like this. You both know what it is, growing up in a broken home. my grandkids were not meant to be growing up in a broken home. So she's focusing more on, you know, what's going on as opposed to pointing fingers. Like just the aftermath. She's focusing on the aftermath and that, look, what's done is done, but we're gonna need to clean up quick, sharp to make this the best way we can. Because the little back and forth, she's not with it. She did it, she even kind of check him a little bit that, you know, the way you have disrespected me, Melody has not disrespected your mother. She kind of went through points, but she was very, sometimes, you know how it is when you say, it's not what you say, but how you say. Her delivery was very calm. Voice, just calm, soft, delivering her points, like boom, boom, boom. And there was a point where, you know, Martell was, particularly when she said about, you know how it is to grow in separate home. You and Melody both know this isn't what I want for my grandchildren. He definitely was sober for a second. And that's what happens. You see these moments, and it's always moments. It's never for long. Moments where he's sober and he can hear. So could he be in a position to hear? He could. He just hasn't gotten there yet. Like it'll just be a moment. It's always just the short moment, and then he snaps out of it, and then he's back to Martell. But yeah, she had a great conversation with him. For a second in between there, you know, Martell was a little defensive, but he heard her. Now, what is he going to do with what he heard? Because immediately once he goes back to Martell, then he's deflecting, then he's blaming, talking about, yeah, he is exhausting. And I do, you know, I can only imagine what, you know, Melody went through. Because he is exhausting. He'll hear just for a minuscule second, you're actually speaking with him. And then for the rest of the time, he's either on the defense, he's deflecting, he's blaming, he's pointing fingers. It really has an issue with acknowledging, saying, you know what, yeah. Now that might be based on maybe his relationship or lack of relationship there with his dad, but yeah, there's something there. And he's not ready to work on it. He's ready to do face value, but not ready to really dig deep and say, this is what needs to happen. Towards the end of their meeting, you know, when he got to a point, when I say he snapped out of his somber moment, where he's like, yeah, he's talking about his cheating, like, yeah, Dad don't cheat, that's not Martell, what happened? Like, I know there must have been some editing there too, but what I'm getting is that he's now blaming something outside of him for him starting a relationship and keeping it up for 5+ years, eventually resulting in a child. So he's putting the blame or the responsibility of that occurring, of that breaking his family, on the outside. This guy is splitting. You know when people have called splitting? When you have a split personality? So according to psychiatry, when you have a split personality, I don't know if that, you know, you see it in the movies, like, no, see, it's mad. When you have a split personality, your body or your mind is finding a way for you to deal with information. So like say if somebody was abused as a child, horribly abused, in order to deal with that so they don't completely fall apart, the mind was split like it didn't happen to them, like it was somebody else. That's another individual. When you see in the movies when somebody has 3 or 4 people, different personalities, somebody else comes up, head down, somebody else comes up. So that's what my top playing with us. Like he's talking about, he's trying to split right in front of us, talking about, yeah, I'm not that kind of guy. From what I understand, sir, your last person who ended up having a child for you wasn't the only one. So I don't know what you mean by you're not that kind of guy. But the truth is, that's how he's coping with it, I think. Because the thing is, he realizes that action, that resulted in his marriage, his life. He definitely, you know, he has a desire for family. Him being away from his kids full time, split it up. His finances broken down. Everything he'd identified as was destroyed by him. And how does he deal with it? He has to split. So he can't point and say, you know, he still does a little weak thing when he's talking about, yeah, it was Melody. Melody did that. Melody did this. Melody did this. But that's not holding water, and you can see it's not holding water. It's not making sense. So now he's now splitting and saying that other person who he doesn't recognize did these things that resulted in him, you know, splitting apart his life. Because he split his life apart right through the center. Boom. Because once a man's finances are hit, he's a family. I don't know. I want to say he's a family man, but didn't act like a family man. Family means something to him, but not enough for him to act right. It lacked, you know, self-discipline. And so he cannot handle the fact that his actions resulted in the complete destruction of the life that he knew and actually loved. He got carried away. And so he's not strong enough to deal with it. So you're looking around like, yeah, that's not me. What happened? He's looking for someone to blame. So he's talking about the other Martell. Like, who is he gonna? Manel. Like, he wanna call this. So there's Martell and there's Manel. And Manel, being a man, he was being a man around town, and resulted in this, the breaking up of his home. The breaking up of his happy home, if you let him tell it. Or maybe not, because now he's talking about they had problems. So yeah, I was taken aback, but after thinking about it, that's what I realized he was doing. In order for him to stay somewhat, Martell's saying, he needs to get that blame and put it somewhere else for him to breathe. Because he's still begging to come back. He wants it back to the way it was. But he had so many warnings. It's just like, so yeah, that's what he's doing. So if you all heard what I heard, I think that's what happened. He's splitting it up so he can live with himself. Because once you can't live with yourself, that's when stuff happens. So this is where he's surviving. So I hope and pray this, he's at a point where he can actually get the help he needs, because he needs help. So we have a new character on the scene, somebody called Tiffany. I can't catch the name of her husband. They're both divorced from prior marriages. They both have a son. Each son's a year or a year and a half apart in age. Apparently they've been married a year. Everything's going swell. They have all this and they have all that. Like, yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna just leave it there. Let's stay tuned. I'm just gonna watch. We see quick scene, Tisha in Houston waiting for Marcel. Some about business. So we know something gonna happen. Something going down in Houston. We're gonna find out later. Just know they're in Houston. She went a day ahead. Next. All right, so let's get to the, one of the final scenes, the birthday brunch. So it's meant to be Destiny's birthday. At this point now, Destiny's willing to tell everyone, yes, I'm divorced, fully divorced. Might you add, I'm fully divorced. Okay, all right, fair enough. That's good enough. But I think maybe that's what it's like, the coming out. So, she's in a red dress, Melody shows up, she's in a red dress, they're both in red dresses, they're in their freaking dresses, like, hey. Okay, all right, cute, nice. And I guess it's still just a little time since the lockdown, so they definitely wanted to come out. So they all, arrive. Kimmy arrives, another lady arrives. Then finally Tiffany, this new character, arrives. And this is what I think. I feel like Tiffany has been waiting for that opportunity, waiting for that moment. And she feels this is a moment, and she's taking no prisoners. She's misbehaving. She's a mother and she's misbehaving. Like, this doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. I don't know, like, if would she say production put her up to it? So you want to be production darling and you just want to, yeah. Tiffany, I don't know what your last name is. No. I know you're a grown-ass woman. You are not a child. But the way you displayed this hunger for, it's like lights, camera, action. Sun, she's on, your behavior didn't fly. So let's break it down. What did you do with this lunch? Immediately, and of course editing is involved, but it seems immediately you got there and everyone sat down and had a drink, you were like, yeah, it's on and popping. You want to be like the camera's darling. You want to be, and it's almost like you find a lot of these, people on reality TV, they look at certain personalities and want to emulate them. So we all know and love, I love Kenya Moore, I'm sorry. She be doing her stuff, but Kenya Moore is Kenya Moore. Kenya Moore didn't come out trying to be someone else but Kenya Moore. She's always been someone who's outspoken, someone who's not scared to be the only one in the corner, and she can fight back with the best of them. And she's smart. She is smart. But people will tell you that in real life, she's actually not what she portrays. Like, she's actually really nice. She can hold her confidence. So all what we see on Real House of Atlanta is not really who Kenya Moore is. She's been pegged into the character of the villain and is doing well as a villain, and understands that she's been pegged as a villain and doesn't fight it. You don't see her come back complain nothing. Like, she don't come back talking about production this, production that, or this, that. She come back with well-oiled bullets for anyone can get it. Like Kenya. So I digress. So I feel like a lot of the time now when you see reality TV, newer shows, you find some women who understand that in order, and that's what production does too. They get the storyline, they have the writers. Yes, it's nice for stuff to go along and go well. But I think when they have that contrast of good and bad, you can really enjoy the good because there's the bad. So when you have the good folks, then you have the villain. And so once you're that villain, you're going to pop off a lot. You're going to be on everyone's lips. You're going to come up a lot in the scenes. I say scenes. In the scripts, I say scripts. It's meant to be reality TV. But then you're going to be a major part of everything because you're the villain. And so that you're the villain, the story ties around the villain. So I say all this to say is that Tiffany trying to be a villain. And she came in like with a game plan. That's what she's trying to do. She's doing too much. And it's insincere, inauthentic. And I'm looking at, I don't know how you're looking at him. I'm looking at like, sis, like, you too old for this. You've got a son who's in his teenager. He'll be looking at you like, really, mom? Oh, you want me not to do that? Just like you didn't do that? All right, right. So she goes on to start talking about somebody's child. So it mentions that the child was vaping. Like, how is that relevant? Like, it was completely off. It wasn't. And even then, if that was something you really were concerned about, you should have pulled sis to the side and says, yo, I heard that blah, blah, blah was vaping in the bathrooms. Not at the table, not while, like, you're wrong. You are wrong. You are wrong. I'm going to say you were wrong and you were wrong. And karma, she a bad bitch. She can come back right around and get you. You did, that was wrong. That's what I can say. So she goes on to that. Then she goes on to talk about how, yeah, immediately, and this was all how, oh yeah, this is at Destiny's birthday luncheon. She's recently divorced, but had been recently married with a new baby. So yeah, she's acting all brave, but it's not without some pain. I'm sorry. You rip off a scab, you can't tell me that there's some pain to it. So she goes on to say that she had met Destiny's ex somewhere with someone one day when he got an award as a businessman, and then the following day she saw him again with Destiny this time. I was like, oh, I saw you yesterday with da-da-da-da-da. But apparently the person she'd seen her ex with the day prior was not Destiny, was somebody else. Whoever Miss X is. That did not happen on camera. Because there's something that I've heard Candy say from Atlanta that, yeah, she'll talk about certain things, but only if they happened on camera. If it didn't happen on camera, she doesn't feel that it's ground to discuss it, to start breaking news. Like she's not CNN, she's not Fox News. You know, Fox News can be careless. She's not Fox News. She's not trying to break. She's not giving you breaking news. Now, spilling tea means something happened on camera, so she's now spilling it to the person while they're filming and not waiting for the reunion. But Tiffany, you were wrong. Whatever you saw transpired. You'd already had that discussion with Destiny, by the way, whenever that happened, but you decided to bring it onto camera. Now you brought it to us. What, to help us explain why they're divorced? You're wrong. Even if someone put you up to it, you're wrong. You look desperate, you look thirsty, you're wrong. You're not gonna come out looking great. Remember when Destiny came out with Who Rah Rah Rah? Was it last season, the first time they introduced her, the season before that? Nobody was feeling her. She had to simmer down a bit to be accepted. You're doing too much. But Destiny never did something like this. That's why Destiny's still here today. She's now becoming, people begin to see, oh, the other side of her. And maybe she was even the reason why she was really defensive about her husband at that time, is maybe some stuff was going on. Tiffany, wrong. Desperate. You want a producer's pet? You're gonna turn around and bite yourself. Your mother, your wife. And you have some, but you hungry for stardom. And then I think there's some, before you start spilling all this tea, they'd mentioned how I think you all had a wedding in a stadium. I don't know if both of you all are desperate for attention. That's the worst recipe for reality TV, someone who's desperate for attention. You don't even know when you're actually shooting yourself in the foot. But you didn't come out with a bang, you came out with a flap. Like, you know when you do a belly flop on water? Cause I don't know anybody with any good sense is gonna watch how you display on this luncheon and look at you. Be like, oh, I want to film with her. Nah. That's why I've heard someone say this, I'm going to use it. It's okay to be thirsty, but it's not okay to be parched. I got it from someone who said it, so that's not something I came up with. Because when you're thirsty, you can drink water, but when you're parched, you don't think straight. You just grab anything and start guzzling. So you so parched, you're going to do anything. And you just did anything, and what you did was wrong. Because you would not appreciate someone talking about that, about your bonus son or your son, on camera, for it to be televised to a bunch of us who watch OWN Network. Sis, you were wrong. All right, guys, so that's where it ended. It's about to take off. And this kind of stuff, I don't like. It's just messy. Things happen, you be like, ooh. But this, Yeah, and I saw the way, you know, Melody was like, ooh. Melody knows, like, oh, sis, ooh. That's, yeah, Melody was like, that's, yeah, I don't know how Melody's going to take it, because Melody kind of, well, it looks like, or it's presented like Melody introduced you to the group. Tiffany, you're not Kenya Moore. Good luck with that. Anyway, guys, so that's this episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville. So now it appears we have a villain. Who knew? Someone trying to steal Marceau's position. Like Marceau being like, he's the black sheep, the little villain, but he's smooth with his. Like he's not just like outright like, I'm gonna be a villain. Like, he's not parched. He might be thirsty every now and again, but he's smooth with his. Tiffany rough and just clunky. Real is, yeah. So guys, let's see how this goes. Looks like it's picking up. We've got a villain that we really don't like at this point. Like, let's see what she brings next week. Is she going to clean it up, or is she going to continue to misbehave like this? Because for a grown-ass woman, she's not, even though her teenager did this, is despicable, but she grown with a kid or kids and a husband, a second husband. You think she'd be trying to clean this up? Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. Let's see. You know, we know the other Scots, they're in Houston, sun about to pop off. Let's see how that goes. Stay tuned. So guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Lola, over and out.